And HEN, it's been on the go for a while now. But we have the first release now. It appears a lot of the functions make it integrated into OnionHEN itself. As the developer has essentially contributed the changes made in OnionHEN to OnionHEN, and there is apparently gonna be new test builds HEN coming soon, but in the meantime, he has decided to just release this project, so we can go ahead and run it on our PS5. Now, why is this interesting? It's interesting because it supports firmwares up to 12.70, as O for DOT03T, and includes a working toolbox that integrate. That's integrated into the PS5 menu, the shell UI. So we have a full toolbox here that works up to Firmware 12.70. Whereas the latest public builds anyway of OnionHEN did not have the toolbox working up to the latest firmwares. It doesn't quite have all of the features that the HEN toolbox includes, but it does have a lot of the essential features in here. And it is laid out in this very neat rework of the toolbox menu. So I thought we would take a look at this here in this video. So we can see we have OnionHEN. It includes a full chip engine matching Kylin core, a toolbox with English and simplified Chinese support, a home screen entry in the top corner so you don't have to open it from the settings. That's quite a neat little feature that I'll show you guys. Once we get it up and running, we have more reliable injection, payload manager with auto start feature, fan control with custom temperature threshold app, jailbreak for Explorer, along with an improved in-game monitor bar for monitoring your CPU, temperatures, and percentages, all of that stuff. So it's kind of a reworked version of OnionHEN just to make it look a little bit near. So all we gotta do is download the payload here. OnionHEN Release, we can download this file, and then we need to copy this over to our PS5. So what I will do is just copy the payload to the root of a USB drive, and I'll install it with the payload manager. So I'll unplug that USB drive and plug it into my PS5. So I'm currently on my new 12.0 system, but I have tested it up to 12.70 with my 12.70 console, and it's also working. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and load the WebKit. You can run whatever jailbreak method you use, whether it's the WebKit jailbreak or like the YouTube jailbreak. With the YouTube application, any jailbreak that loads the payload manager. So this autoloader for the web browser jailbreak will load the payload manager. And there it goes. I'm going to abort the autoload sequence though. So first up, we're gonna go into our settings on payload manager. And make sure skin USB payloads is enabled. And then go to manage payloads. Scroll down to where OnionHEN is. And move it or copy it to the internal storage. And that will get it copied over there. Then we can go to the dashboard section and load it. So we just select OnionHEN. And it should automatically load KStuff Lite, which is built in so we get OnionHEN loading. We get Pasta Lite version 1.10, the latest build that is loaded, and there is welcome to OnionHEN. If you press the PS button, you can of course go straight to the toolbox from here, and that will take you to the toolbox. But what I like about this is it also adds this new icon here, next to the settings to automatically take you into the toolbox. So instead of going into settings and scrolling all the way down to the bottom, you know where OnionHEN Tools is still here, just like OnionHEN but you can toolbox. Quick access it from this option here, which is reminiscent of like Gold Hand on the PS4, which also has a similar thing, where you can access it directly from a button on the homepage, which is nice, so we have access to it here now. Because this project was released earlier than it was originally planned. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be installed manually to get this set up. It doesn't really have an option to automatically download cheats, and install. For instance. So if you want to install or you want to install payloads or anything like that, it has to be done manually for now. So what I will do is just go ahead and load the FTP payload from the payload manager. I'll just download it from the payload manager and load this for now to get FTP loaded, and then once FTP is loaded, I can then access it from my computer using an FTP client like FilaZilla or WinSCP, and then we can enter that IP address into the FTP client, into the host box with the port number being to 1-to-1. And then connecting to it remotely. And then if we go into the data folder and then the OnionHEN folder, this is where you can then add stuff into OnionHEN. So if you want to add more payloads, for instance, so that you have payloads that you can load within OnionHEN, you can upload those payload files, that URL files directly into this payloads folder. So I'll let's say FTP and maybe Nano, DNS or something like that into the payloads folder. So I can load those within OnionHEN. And then I will also do the same thing with the cheats. So I've downloaded the cheat repository for OnionHEN, and there is a cheats folder here, as you can see on OnionHEN. So we can open up the cheats folder, which is currently empty, and we can extract the cheats from the repo into this folder. However, it works differently from ETA head and ETA head. You can extract the cheat folders, the MC for folder, the JSON folder, and the SHN folder. That doesn't work in OnionHEN. Expects the cheat files to be directly in the cheats folder, not inside any subfolders. So you just have to extract all of the raw cheat directly into the cheats folder. Like this in order for the cheats to actually show up for your games. So works a little bit differently there to get the cheats, but that's installed. How you can install your cheats and upload payloads that you can then access from within the toolbox. So we have the content install and management. Obviously, this is your package installer. So that's your normal debug settings. Package installer and add-on content manager that's built in there. So next we have payloads where we can go into the payloads section and load the payloads that we uploaded to the data folder earlier. So I can load the FTP payload directly from any other payload. And then we can also go back and enter the payload auto start section, where you can also select any of those payloads to automatically load whenever OnionHEN is loaded. So it's basically an auto-load any additional payloads. Once you load OnionHEN, that's one option. You also have the case stuff section here, and if you open this up, you have the option to auto-load case stuff when OnionHEN starts. So this is the same as what ETA-HEN has here, where it allows you to basically swap out case stuff. So you can turn this off if you don't want case stuff to load on next boot, which will allow you to basically load a different version of case stuff if you want instead of this one. And then you can also remove the case stuff that is installed for OnionHEN in the data OnionHEN folder. You can remove that version of case stuff or replace it with a different version and then have OnionHEN automatically load it. So you have that option there as well. So that's what you've got there. Then we also have the game tools, which are cheats. So of course you have to have a game running for this to work. When you run a game like Demon Souls here, you can see that when I go to the cheat section, we're able to access all of the cheats for Demon Souls. And we can toggle different cheats like infinite health and infinite stamina, infinite mana, all of that stuff. Infinite souls. We can add all of our cheats, and once we have the cheats we can then go back into the game. And we have those cheats enabled in-game. So you can see the souls are maxed out here. I'm not taking any damage when I take a hit. And I have one hit kill enabled. So every time I hit an enemy, they just die immediately. So that is all working there with the cheats. You can also notice here with the game running. We also have the game monitor, which is the overlays running. So it has the nice overlay showing things like your CPU percentages and temperatures and the amount of RAM being used in the system when you're running the game. So that is all displayed if we go back into the toolbox. You can see that is the monitoring and display section. It is enabled by default, the game overlay. So in here we have a game monitor bar which you can enable. You can see by default it's enabled. It's on the top edge, and then we also have CPU, but you can also show all core usage. And you can show IP address as well. And then of course you can also change the position from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen as well. So you have that option there. And you can disable the monitor bar entirely. And then have show title IDs on home menu as well as OnionHEN game options. If you enable those, you'll see that the title ID of your games are displayed. Of all of your applications, you have the title ID being displayed there. And then also if you press options on your games, you have the OnionHEN option here. And that will show you the cheats that are available for that title. System and hardware. You have fan control. So you can adjust your fan speed based on a temperature threshold. You also have rest mode settings. These are the same kind of settings that you've had within ETA. Before external HDD. Blu-ray license activation. You have all of those options there as well. You can enable the licenses without having to connect to the internet. And this is all stuff that's in the debug settings. It's just handy to have them accessible here. And then you also have the preferences automatically open after OnionHEN loads. So you can have it automatically open. The home menu after OnionHEN is loaded. Then you've got the toolbox language, which is English or simplified Chinese. And then you also have open cheats menu. So you have the same shortcuts from ETA-HEN, where you can say L3 and R3 to open up the cheats menu. And maybe hold L2 and R3 to open up the toolbox automatically. So if I just press those buttons down, it takes me straight to the cheat section. So that's all built in a few other options. We have advanced debug options where we have the log output, which is set to informational, but you can turn that off if you don't want any logs. You also have enable app jailbreak that is enabled by default. That allows applications like PS5 Explorer to work because it will automatically unlock the application when it's loading. Then we have app jailbreak notification. So it pops up with a notification to tell you that the app is jailbroken when it's loaded. Not necessary, but if you want that, you can turn that on. And the np environment variable from debug settings is also in there. And then we just have the about section. Support the project, support the developers and the testers. And then you've got the OnionHEN credits, which is nice to see. The ETA-HEN is properly credited there at the top. And we also have projects included in OnionHEN. And it lists all of the different projects. So again, it's mostly just a reworked ETA-HEN toolbox. But there are some nice changes that have been added in here. Especially the toolbox just looks a lot more organized, I would say, than the original ETA-HEN toolbox, which is very nice to see. And there are some meaningful changes in here. I like the in-game overlay. But the main thing is that we actually have a functional toolbox here, working up to firmware 12.70 on the PS5. So anyway, that's just a quick look at this new OnionHEN project. Now, it may likely get replaced with ETA-HEN because there is a new ETA-HEN test build according to Lightning Mods. That is going to be getting updated and should hopefully work up to the latest firmware, with the toolbox working similar to how the toolbox is working with this. I think a lot of the changes and updates that have been made in this project have been pushed as well to the ETA-HEN project, so it should hopefully incorporate some of these changes as well. So we might just end up moving back to ETA-HEN. But for now, anyway, we have this option, this OnionHEN alternative, that we can use to at least get a functional toolbox working up to the latest jailbreakable firmwares for the PS5. So hope you guys enjoyed this one or found the information